UPS lost a package of mine in the middle of June, and it is now the July 20th, and they're going to be paying me back. And I want to share my journey with you and how to do it. The first thing is, don't panic. If you have lost a package, or UPS has lost a package and you've documented and you have all the information that you need, come tax time, you can take that as a deduction or a loss. So don't freak out and don't panic. The second thing is, you can often get a refund, but there are steps that you have to take. And it's very important that you understand the steps and how to handle yourself and how to handle the forms. And also you also need to make sure that you've bought extra insurance whenever you ship something, and that you ship some things in really good packaging. I use Uline, even though I don't really like the company that much because of their politics, but I really make sure I package things carefully and well. So first of all, the first takeaway is keep cool. You're going to be on the phone with these people 5 to 6 hours depending on your stamina, and they are going to mess with you. Their job is to create as much friction as possible to keep you from to discourage you from getting your package. They'll be super polite. They'll say that customer service is their first thing, and it may be for you, but it's not for them. What they're going to do is they're going to create as many roadblocks as possible for you to be able to get the refund. And some of the roadblocks will be people who don't speak English very well. The sound quality on the call is bad. So the way that I dealt with those things was I actually put them on speakerphone, and I do other activities like paint or draw or even do packaging while I'm doing it. So just remember that they're going to give you a hard time, and also they will try to misdirect you or tell you that there aren't numbers that you can call to get help. And if you ask for managers, it's going to be a problem and they won't send you up the line. So I've given you some direct contact numbers on the screen here that you might be able to get through more directly. So we'll talk about how to do that. So in order to find the connections, if you want to look it up on your own, first of all, if you were to go to stamps.com and look it up in their helpline, see how I've typed this in, how to make a claim with UPS, and notice it doesn't provide a direct number. There is a number for you to call them over here, but you might want to be armed with some more information or data about that. What I want to show you is you should always look up the numbers on Google. So stamps.com filing a UPS claim is my Google search term, and you can see that it pops up immediately, and it actually, if you look at this, you can actually find by clicking on a link that Google provides you, and it actually shows you how to do it. So then you can click on US Post Office or UPS, and it brings you directly to the links that you need, okay? The way that I did it was I sent them the forms through UPS claims at stamps.com. All right, so how do you handle, make a claim with UPS? That's also a pain in the ass, so use Google search, type in how to make a claim with UPS, and then it has people ask, and you can read all of these things, but probably, and it'll arm you a little bit before you get on the call with them, that I wouldn't get too caught up in worrying about it. You can get it done, but I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Now, you need to do it within 60 days. You also need to have the tracking number and all that other information. And remember that if you haven't bought additional insurance, UPS will only reimburse you for about $100. So that's really important that you know that you need to do that. So expect the friction, make the calls, and do that kind of thing. But the second thing is you need to make sure you communicate with your collectors as soon as you can. And I actually, without sending them everything, I CC'd through email my customers what I knew was going on and how to handle it. The other thing is, when someone makes an order from you on PayPal or on Etsy, so on and so forth, you should write to them immediately after they've made the order, or have that as part of your auto reply, and get their phone numbers and email addresses from them directly, and also confirm their physical address. And you might also, to protect yourself a little bit from lost packages, suggest to them when you write to them that maybe getting it shipped to their home isn't a great idea. Maybe they want to get the package shipped to them at work, where there's actually a receiving department, or it's a business address, and sometimes that works a little bit better and it's a little bit safer rather than having things delivered to someone's home. So make sure you have that information. Now, the second thing that you should do is offer them a refund, but ask for like 3 or 4 weeks to be able to, process and see if you can get a refund for the claim. Okay, so you can, and if they're not into it, then just refund their money immediately, because you don't want to burn a customer the same way that UPS or Stamps.com is burning you, or the post office. Imagine you're so irritated about losing that money that you might transfer that irritation over to your collector and then lose them as a collector after that. So offer to pay them immediately. Consider remaking the work of art. I don't like to do that very often, but in this instance, when this person lost their painting, I thought, I think I can make a better version of this painting. And so it was more of a challenge for me, and so I remade the painting. And so I'm going to ship that to them. But I'm still out the 2 or 3 days that it took me to make the painting. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Make sure that when you are, packaging things, that maybe every once in a while you want to photograph how you package things, and you want to make sure that you keep track of the boxes that you use and the foam rubber, so that if UPS damages the thing and ships it to them, or you want to prove to them that you packaged it correctly, that you can do that. For example, let me see. These are packages that I get from Uline, and I put a lot of foam rubber and all kinds of stuff inside, the package, to make sure that everything is sturdy and protected. So if every once in a while I'll take a picture of the inside of one of my packages, and I can use that as evidence if I need to make sure that people understand that I'm doing a good job of packaging. All right. So the next thing is that you need to be able to make the claim because you've have enough insurance. So one of the things that I consider doing, and I actually do this, is I buy as much insurance as I possibly can for each package. It raises the cost sometimes $10 to $20 for a package, so you need to build that into your shipping costs to think about that. But what I generally do is, if I sell a work of art for $400, I insure the package for $800. Now, the main reason why I insure for double is because if a package gets lost, I'm able to pay back the client or collector their full value for the painting, but I'm also able to pay myself back for the time that I spent in making this one-of-kind original work of art. So both the client and I both get paid, and UPS gets punished for not taking care of business the way that they were supposed to take care of. And I'll show you how I do it on Stamps.com, okay? Now, what happens is, with Stamps.com, when you insure things, for instance, you choose UPS, it will give you additional options, and you put the declared value in. And so let's say I'm going to ship it to my childhood address. Okay, let's make it 2 pounds. Select a service, the ground service. Okay, so that's $8.10. All right, now watch what happens when I add the insurance. Let's insure it for $800. It adds $9 to it, so it makes the package that much more. Okay, so that's kind of important. Now, if you were to use the post office, which is a little bit more expensive, okay, so let's see, it's doing. Let's send it large package. Okay, 824, and I'm going to insure it for $800. Okay, so it actually, really raises the cost of those items quite a bit. So what I generally do is I kind of build that into the cost of the item. Like if I sell a painting for $375, I don't charge for shipping. I actually just ship it for free and pay for the shipping out of that amount of money. So you have to think about building that in, because when you hit people with shipping costs afterwards, they don't like it. So the other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you keep track of your tracking numbers and all that kind of stuff. And Stamps.com, which I'm still going to use, does that in the history. And you can actually find the tracking and also the declared value of things and so on and so forth. So that's kind of useful. And you want to make sure you CC those things to your collector, and also they're going to ask you to fill out a form and prove, the cost of the thing and so on and so forth. Now, I do a lot of business by word of mouth, and that creates a problem for proving to UPS. They wouldn't take a screenshot of my PayPal account. So what I needed to do was generate a new invoice for the thing. So let me show you how to do that. If you go to Microsoft Word, which is where we are right now, and you let's say UPS asks you for an invoice, and you've insured it for $1,000, let's say, even though the customer bought it for $500, you still bought $1,000 worth of insurance. You're not committing fraud here. You bought the insurance for $1,000. The value is that. So they're going to ask you to prove the value. Don't send them receipts from Etsy. Don't send them receipts from PayPal. Create an invoice, because that's what they want and that's what they ask for. So what you do to do that is in Microsoft Word, you can go to File and New, okay? And then just search for an online template like invoice, and basic invoice with sales tax. If you click on that, it'll create the invoice for you. And then all you have to do is fill in, let's zoom in, you type in your name, your street, all that kind of stuff, the customer, the ship to address, comments, quantity, description, total. You can add in the sales tax for it, the shipping and the handling, and the total due, and then save it to your desktop and use that as your document from that point forward, okay? So that's a good way to handle making the invoice that they need, and apparently that's what they wanted from me, because I sent them evidence through screenshots of PayPal, and they just gave me a totally hard time. I want to stress again that I've spent about 4 or 5 hours trying to get paid back by getting on the phone and talking with people and trying to convince them. Finally, I just gave them what they wanted, and then they said, that's fine, we're going to send you the money. So if you do it their way, then you'll get, the money back, okay? So let me also show you one of the emails and some of the information that they're going to ask for when you're filling out the forms from them. So they sent me an email, and they also have a phone number in there. But what they did was they asked me for the size, the brand, the color, the model number. They also asked me a series of additional questions. So you need to be able to write those things clearly and concisely. So let me just show you what I wrote to them about this, and so that you have an idea of how to answer. So I just cut and paste what they asked for, the size. This box is manufactured by Uline. It's an 18 by 24 by 4 inch white cardboard box. Inside the box is an 18 by 24 inch canvas panel with an original painting. So I provided all of that information. Now, the thing about UPS, if you're working with Stamps.com, you can actually file the claim directly through Stamps.com. They may ask you for that additional information when you do it, so be prepared to have that as well. So the last thing that I wanted to mention to you or talk to you about is, so a couple of, almost 20 years ago, I had a problem where I shipped a painting to an art gallery. And I shipped it to Santa Fe, and I packaged it myself, which was probably a mistake, and put it in a bicycle box. It was a 36 by 48 inch painting. And I had shipped it, and they told me that they couldn't find it. Now, I insured it really well, so I insured it for, I think, almost $6,000 at that time, because my paintings were going for $3,000 or $4,000 a piece. They claimed to have lost it and couldn't find it. And so what I did was I actually went to Google and I typed in Board of Directors, UPS Corporation. And I actually went to their site. Most email addresses at those organizations are the first initial last name at ups.com. And what I did was I wrote an email, the same email, but sent it separately to each one of those people. And I told them what had happened to me. You know, this was 20 years ago. And I explained to them that a really important package was lost. I'm an independent artist. I was very upset about it. I'm getting the runaround at UPS. And I was thinking about doing that for this thing because I was so annoyed with it. And actually only one of the board members answered me back. Maybe it was two. And he got on the phone and called UPS in Santa Fe, and they found it the next day. So sometimes emailing or finding the telephone number for the board of directors at an organization and then letting them know how their company is performing will light a fire under their butts and get them to do stuff. So I thought that I would just mention those things to you and share my experiences with you about how to fix this problem.